Hey folks, my name is Pravus, and welcome to Sins of a Solar Empire 2, the sequel to a very well-known strategy game, an interesting blend between 4X exploration and exploitation, all with real-time strategy elements. Now, this game is not going to be out on Steam quite yet. It should be coming out later in the summer of this year. What you're going to be seeing in this video is a special private build given to me ahead of time by the developer and publisher Stardock so that I can show off what this game is going to have to offer. Stardock was also nice enough to sponsor me for today's video. They wanted to make sure that you guys have plenty of time to get excited for the game. So, of course, as you watch this video, if you like what you see and you want to learn more, there will be that link in the description down below so you can click on that and maybe give it a wish list. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into a new single-player game, and hopefully I can show you how this is going to work. Now, right now there are 5 different maps available to me. Only one of them is medium, so that's what I'm going to play with, though presumably we're going to have a lot more options later on. Multiplayer can have up to 10 players, by the way, so it can get pretty huge. Now, in this game, there are going to be a total of 3 races divided up into a loyalist and rebel faction, so a total of 6 factions at the beginning of the game when it releases. In this version, I only have the human TEC and the alien Vasari factions. The Advent Unity is going to be added on later on, presumably. I'm going to play with the TEC loyalists because I think this is going to be kind of the classic experience, but to make things interesting, let's make sure that everyone is properly represented, and each of these different factions have special benefits, technologies, and so on to change up the gameplay. Okay, and here goes nothing. First thing I'm going to do, pause the game, because this game, as I said before, does have a lot of 4X elements, but it's not turn-based. This is a real-time strategy game. So once I hit play, I'm going to be moving pretty quick, and I want to make sure I give you guys a quick orientation so you have some idea what you're looking at, because at this current version of this game, there is no tutorial. I had to figure out a lot of this on my own, but I think I've got a good handle on it. There are 3 resources we are concerned about. We have credits, metals, and crystals. We need this to construct buildings, platforms, and ships and maintain them. All of this is going to be important. We also have civilian and military research, both broken up into separate trees, so we'll need to continue getting a lot of technology in order to overpower our opponents. We've got diplomacy, factions, we can see a quick drop down of all of our colonized planets and how we can develop them. We've got markets, we've got exotic materials, etc., etc. And then something kind of cool that I'm hoping to show off a lot more later on, orbits. You can see here the direction that all of the planets are going to be revolving around their respective star systems. This is interesting because the planets don't move necessarily at the same rate or even in the same direction. As the game progresses, these paths between worlds might actually disappear and change. So depending on how you're paying attention to future orbits, you may find you have a backdoor opportunity to attack your opponents. It's fascinating. The map is literally changing underneath your feet, but hopefully we can show off more of that later on. Let's zoom in real quick on the planet itself. We have one capital planet in the bottom. You can see that we have a few things we can do. We can develop commerce, mining, logistics, defense, and then our civilian and military research. Each one of these districts get me some sort of a benefit. So for example, I could invest in some more mining in order to get a little bit more metal and crystal income from our planet, commerce for credits, etc., etc. We can also survey the planet to get some sort of exotic materials. We could build orbital structures, which again are broken up into civilian and military installations. So we can have defensive platforms, we can have factories, research posts, etc., etc. And we can construct ships. We are broken up into corvettes, frigates, cruisers, capital ships, and eventually the mighty Titan. Also, every planet is going to have some special planet item slots, which as we research these will open up new opportunities to boost up the economy, or the research, or defenses, and so on. All this ends up being very important. We'll come back to a lot of this later on. To start off, I will get one mining upgrade, then I'm going to go for a civilian research upgrade so I can get some points. Because until we have one installation, I can't even unlock civilian tech level 1. That's going to open up all of these down here. That's the first thing we want to do. We also can see some of our ships and factories in the area, so I've already got like a retrofit bay, we've got some factories, and I have a couple of scout corvettes. These guys are automatically going to be set to scouting, so they're going to start looking around and hopefully find a few new worlds that we can exploit in some way. Let's unpause the game and let loose the dogs of war. Now, I believe we get one free capital ship at the beginning of every game. I guess I'll take the coal battleship. I mean, this one's very basic, all right? It just does a lot of damage, and it's pretty survivable. Other ones are capable of, let's say, colonizing and supporting your fleet, or something along those lines. I think the coal battleship is fine. That at least gets me some very rudimentary defense at the beginning of the game. And then I'm going to take that ship, and I'm going to immediately move over here to create a fleet with it, so it's just a little easier for me to keep track of. And if I click on this fleet, I actually will be able to say, hey, I want to start constructing new things for this. So, for example, I want to start constructing some cobalt light frigates at the cost of some metals and some credits. We'll use these to start patrolling nearby areas, clearing out bandits, and so on. So, for example, down here, I see that we have an asteroid little field, and I think that there are going to be some bandits in this area. It says that there is 30 supply worth of bandits, and then 15 protecting a derelict that is holding onto some metals and some exotic resources. If we look over here, we can see that right now I have 55 supply. That's not a lot. So I want to build up a few more ships, and then we'll go down here and start clearing this area out. Now that we have some civilian research, by the way, let's go over here to deep core metal mining. That'll boost up our surface mining rate by 15%. I'll probably follow that up with the efficient crystal sorting for the same reason. I need a lot of this at the beginning of the game. Following that, we also have the option to, let's say, start colonizing Arctic or volcanic worlds, if we can discover those. Maybe some advanced research labs to orbit the planets. There's a lot of different things we want to worry about. For now, though, getting the basic economy up and running is the highest priority. I should also note that capital ships are able to level up as they gain experience and unlock different abilities. So, for example, I'll unlock the experimental beam. We can use antimatter, which my ship right now has 225. This is kind of like a mana resource, and we can use that to activate different abilities with a cooldown. The more mana we have, obviously, the more of these we can use. So experimental beam just does a lot of single target damage. We can also do fusillade, which gets me more reload speed, and also adaptive force field to reduce damage taken. Eventually, finest hour is going to be a thing, a special ability that's going to have a huge impact on ability cooldown, antimatter regeneration, and so on. But I can't do anything with this, at least for a bit. Okay, we did find a volcanic planet over here. Good. It does unfortunately have a plague on it, which is going to greatly reduce our credit income and make it more expensive to develop, but beggars can't be choosers. So once we've got these two techs done, let's go ahead and worry about volcanic colonization, so I can start working on this planet over here. Also, in our capital, we should go ahead and construct a Protev colony frigate, which will allow me to start colonizing nearby worlds or asteroid fields and claim their resources. Let's get some more mining up and running, then we'll also get a military research installation, then we'll focus on a little bit of commerce and so on. Should always be trying to expand and develop in some way, and this is where being able to see, like, really quickly, click on this up here to see your planet, or do a drop down here, will show you what is left to develop, and that gives you some idea what you want to be doing. We found an ice planet over here, Apollo. Okay, that's usually good to get a lot of crystal. Rusted core. Okay, I mean, I'm not really worried about this too much, so that's fine. Seeing the branch off in the galaxy a little bit right now, lots of different worlds. My scouts will do their thing, though. They're all set to auto-explore, so I'm not worried about them. Military research is available. Let's unlock military level 1. You can see this is where we're starting to burn through a lot of our resources early on. I don't usually find I have a lot of trouble with credits income, at least for a bit, but metals and crystals, yeah, that ends up being kind of difficult. With military tech, though, you can see we can boost up our maximum supply so we can field more ships. We can boost up our weapon damage. We can unlock new types of ships, which is great. Flak frigates are important at some point because in this game, everything is fully simulated, down to the last missile, and you can shoot down those missiles with things like flak gunships to protect your back line. So you kind of need everything in this game. And when we get into a fight, I'll zoom in so you can see that in real time, every single ship, every single fight is actively being simulated in some way. So now that I've got 6 of these frigates plus my capital ship, I think we're going to go ahead and make a move toward the volcanic world over here. I'm pretty sure it's going to be defended. It says there's 40 supply worth of bandits of some sort. But now that we have volcanic colonization, I can get over here and take advantage of this world. And the sooner we do that, the sooner I can begin to snowball. This is how all 4X games work, and this game is no exception. For additional research, I think I'll get the orbital commerce. This would let me get some trade ports up and running. I'll show you trade in a bit, but it's a pretty good way to supplement whatever income is currently the lowest for you. Or whatever you want, honestly. But I mean, it's a very good way to make sure that you're a little bit stronger at the beginning of the game. So we'll get that up and running ASAP. Let's also build up a handful of corvettes. There we go. So where is the fleet? They are currently moving in formation toward this jump point. They will be phase jumping into this world in just a little bit. And there's a few enemy ships. Okay, let's go ahead and engage. So the capital ship arrived first. The rest should be arriving momentarily. Yep, there they are. All right, so these guys are starting to pop in. Let's go ahead and use our experimental beam to try and burn this guy down just a little bit faster. And now we can see our ships engaging in glorious combat. Now, my capital ship has some shields, as well as some armor and some hull points. It's a very survivable ship. It could take on a lot of things by itself, but the more DPS I am fielding, the better. Let's make sure we bring our colony frigate forward. I want to go ahead and say colonize this planet as quickly as possible. I do see some metal asteroids are in orbit of Thorenia. We will be able to exploit these at some point to get an extra boost in our metal production. And this world should be more or less cleared out. Okay, the fleet is free to head back. It should automatically repair itself a little bit over time. Eventually, we can research some upgrades for, let's say, the retrofit bay to make this a little bit faster. Hello! Looks like there are some scouts for another player going through my territory, so they already know where my capital is. Also, my capital ship leveled up, which means we have access to another ability. Let's go ahead and grab the adaptive force field so I have some extra survivability if I need it. We could also buy some items for our ships, like a radiation bomb or an armor patch kit and so on. Not all of these have infinite uses, so the bomb can be used twice, for example. So these are things you want to use very situationally, but they can give you an edge in the critical moments. Let's also make sure we get that trade port up and running. I'll place it in a defensive spot back over here. Probably should get myself some defensive platforms, so maybe like an autocannon position there and there, where I imagine that these hyperspace lanes are going to more or less stick around for a while. Though again, as time goes on and the planets change their orbits, where enemy ships show up is not always going to be the same. So your choke points, your defensive points, may not always be static. Looks like we are about to, there we go, colonize the world. Let's immediately get myself a couple more mining points so I can get myself plenty of metals. And you can see that some of the districts here are actually blocked for this planet. It's not able to develop all of the way. Eventually, when we get to Tier 2 research, we will be able to go for, let's say, volcanic development here, and that does unlock the rest. But to get to the next tier of tech, we actually need to have 4 civilian research points. I've only got 1 right now. So you have to invest in other planets and build up more of these districts in order to continue advancing. Is my fleet looking pretty good right now? 92 supply. I think we can go ahead and start clearing out some of the nearby asteroid fields, so let's go ahead and do exactly that, because I want to get over here and claim whatever resources are around, if anything. Unfortunately, in order to get a lot of asteroids, you do have to get up to civilian tech level 2 first, so we may not be able to take advantage of these for at least a bit. Unless I'm willing to start investing very heavily in, let's say, civilian research over here, which I can do. I'll buy 1 more district here, and then I can buy an item, in this case, a civic university, to get 2 more points. That would be enough to push me up to 4, so I can start working on Tier 2 civilian tech and start exploiting those asteroids a lot faster. Also, boost up our max supply. Never forget, at the end of the day, this is still very much a real-time strategy game where you need to be building up your forces. If you're sitting on your hands, you're doing it wrong, is all I can say. I actually had a test game where I sat around for too long, and my opponent showed up with twice as many ships as I did, and it was a disaster. Now, by the way, going to trade, as you start developing your trade ports in space or with any sort of structures or technology, you're going to gain some export points. We can actually choose where to spend these in order to get some extra resources. So right now, I'm very low on metals. I'm going to go ahead and toss this over here, and that got me an extra 1 metal per second. That was like a 33% boost. This is where early game trade becomes very helpful, just to shore up wherever you're weakest and let you build what you know you're going to need in order to win the game. All right, we are engaging in combat over here as well, and there is a derelict over here. If we can clear out the defenders and sit here and play Capture the Hill until this is mine, we're going to gain some free resources. In this case, 435 metals and Andvar, an exotic material. Exotics are good for a lot of really advanced structures and also buying some more of these capital ships. So it's good to get this stuff. By the way, look at this. You can see here we do have some enemy missiles that are coming in. If we had flak ships, they would be able to shoot these down. As it is, they're going to hit my capital ship, and it should still be fine. Let's research civilian tech level 2, get that up and running ASAP, and I'm going to start moving my colony frigate. I'm actually going to make this its own fleet so it's easy for me to find. Let's go over here and plan on colonizing this asteroid. And let's go ahead and move in to capture that derelict as I said that I would. And we have the Tier 2 tech. Okay, we can go for even better mining rates and stuff. That's great. Not necessarily what I need. Now, if you're having trouble finding which technology you want, one cool thing about this game is if I were to go to, let's say, this capital world here, I want to start placing down metal extractors and I couldn't find the tech. Well, don't worry. You see this little symbol here? If I click on this, it's smart enough to say, I know what I need to research as a prerequisite, so it automatically queues all of that up in order to construct what you're looking for. In this case, though, we should be good. What I need are just some orbital civilian slots. That means I just need some logistics, so let's set that up. Then you can see the research becomes available. It's going to automatically research the tech, and then build up some metal extractors. New colony founded over here on this asteroid. Good. Let's go ahead and get ourselves, honestly, just logistics first. We could get some mining points, but they're expensive and they don't get me a lot on an asteroid, but getting some of those extractors, now that could be worth something. And then let's get over probably to, okay, the Apollo ice planet is pretty well defended. Let's go ahead and pull back, grab this asteroid as well, but we do want to get over here soon because I really want to boost up my crystal production. Let's actually change up where I'm currently trading in order to shore things up. We can get military tech level 2. I definitely want to do that, because that'll start unlocking some new upgraded ships. So siege frigates, great for planetary bombardments. There should be a carrier. There we go. The Percheron prototype over here, so we can start getting some strike craft. Namely, some fighters and some bombers, kind of like little mini aircraft carriers. We'll bring these into the fleet, and that should supplement me pretty nicely. Still struggling to get enough crystal over here. I really need to go get this ice planet to start boosting that up to be comparable to the rest of my stuff. We'll get there, though. We'll get there. It is possible, by the way, to upgrade some of your ships. So, for example, our Garda flak frigates could get upgraded a little bit more if we want to spend some research there. That's an option. Hangar defenses, orbital structures, that could be an option. Get some items that lets you add a hangar onto your capital ships. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff to do from a research perspective, but the faster you can work your way down the tree, the more focused you are and you know what you want to get, the better off you're going to be, most of the time. We found another player, the Vanitas faction. Okay, so we know where they are. They've got at least one planet of their own. How far away are they? They're over here. Okay, so they're working their way toward me. They may pick up this volcanic planet, which tells me this is probably going to be a defensive point that I need to get for at least a while. Though over time, depending on how this planet continues with its orbit, we might find some new routes actually open up. Yep, that could be a thing. We've also discovered some minor factions. In this case, some pirates and the Prenasts. Okay, so the way that this is going to work is we will be developing influence points over time. We can build some structures or research technologies to make this go a little bit faster. We can boost our reputation level, and if we boost our reputation level and spend some more points, we can get some minor abilities. So emergency Gauss platforms, we could get some pirates integrated into my crews, etc., etc. All right, moving into the Apollo system. Oh yeah, it is defended. It is verily defended. Hooray. Well, you can see we have a lot of little strike craft that are flying around now, so we're kind of swarming the skies, launching lots of little bombs of my own, but they have some sort of flat guns that are shooting them down. If I could find those and take them out, then maybe my bombers would be far more effective. There we go. Their flat guns seem to be done, which means now our bombers are going to be far more effective, and this is where some level of strategery becomes an important part of the game. And now I have Apollo. Okay, let's go ahead and boost our crystal income, get that mining up and running, and we researched Arctic development, which means we have full access to the planet. So we can get ourselves another capital ship if I want to. Another capital ship, what would I do with it? Probably start up a whole new fleet, to be honest. I think that might be a good idea. I am sort of surprised to see that I'm running out of credits very rapidly. That is something we're going to want at some point to fix, right? Yeah, we need more credits. It's a bottleneck. I do feel like I'm falling behind in something, but I'm not too sure what yet. Probably could get more platforms, more defenses, broadcast centers. Yeah, we could try to spread some cultural influence to different areas. Try to spread our culture, maybe affect other nearby planets. Not totally sure how that's impactful, I just can imagine it's good, so maybe it's something we do at some point. Looks like we're about ready to conquer this volcanic planet as well. My goal right now is the same way I would play things like Stellaris, right? I want to make sure I conquer a few key choke points and then turn them into decent fortresses, while I then figure out where else I can either turtle down and build up, or expand. The problem with this world is it's going in the opposite direction of my asteroids, so at some point, it's not going to be a choke point. And I've got to be very concerned about that. Oh look, ocean planets. I also know that my neighbor has at least a 204 supply ship, whereas I've got about 275 across both of my fleets. Okay, that's something. Hostile forces just arrived at Apollo. Oh, frick me. Yep, they've arrived. Okay. And this is why I had some defensive ships in position, but clearly not enough. And I don't have any defensive platforms already set up. So this is going to be a little risky while we wait for the rest of our guys to get in here. So they're bringing in a couple of large ships of their own. They may actually be trying to retreat. Which, if that's the case, that's actually something I want. I want for them to run away. I do not want to engage on this. It would not work out well. Though, we are hitting them pretty well with a bunch of missiles, so I don't know. There's something to be said about this. I'm going to go ahead and buy some garrisons. This is one of the things that is unique for my faction. I'm very good at turtling down. Other factions don't have access to this, so when I get a choke point, I should be able to fortify very heavily. Ah, frick, they're back at Apollo. Of course they are. Hold on. I didn't finish what I was working on. Let's see if we can do some damage to them. AoE attack. Hit them with my capital ship. Go, Dreadnought. Go, Dreadnought. Go, pew. It doesn't feel like it did a lot, to be honest. All right, that's disappointing. I should have kept building my defenses, but I sat back and didn't do anything. I was working on the Garrison Recruitment Center instead. Ah, no. All right, that's a lot of ships coming in. And there's their capitals. Are they running away again? They might be running away again. No. Get a pot shot off on them. Hit as many as you can. Yeah, they're trying to run away. Good. Okay, I want that to happen. Basically, as soon as I start threatening to bring in the Alpha Fleet, they run for it. Let's get to military tech level 3. I know I haven't researched a lot of stuff here, but any upgrades to weapons and so on, armor, just gives me a slight edge when we get into a fight again. Am I able to research oceanic colonization? I am. We could try making a push toward the center of the galaxy here with Demeter. Bit risky, it's pretty well defended, and they're coming into Apollo again. Oh gosh, they're sending a lot this time. All right, you know what? Forget Demeter. I think that maybe it's time to just go ahead and attack the red player. They're not going to stop harassing me. I'm about positive on this. Woo, they're hitting hard this time though, aren't they? Yes, they are. Go. And I don't feel like my defensive platforms have done nearly enough to help. Also, my garrisons seem to be sitting around and freaking out. No, you guys should be defending. Get in here. That was kind of the entire point, you know? And they're running away again. Okay, this time though, we're not going to back off. We're going for it. Just hit those capital ships as hard as you can, all right? Make them super weak so that when I invade, we hopefully can take these things out. If they lose their capitals, that's a massive loss for them. All right, fleets are in position. I think this is it. Let's go ahead and make a push into this moon, which you can see, by the way, has changed up the access points completely. It used to be going straight to the planet. So let's go take this sucker on. This thing's heading dangerously close, too, at some point. This is going to open up, and they'll have a back door. I need to be afraid of that. Are you ready for the glorious fight? I think that we are. Whee! Surprise, suckers! Oh, they got some defenses. Get in there! Defenses are down nice and quick. Should be clearing out the rest of their ships. I want to hit that capital, though, for sure. Take that thing out, quick. And they're bringing in reinforcements of their own. This is about to turn into a big fight. Man, that capital ship is holding on hard, though. And here comes some more, too. Ah! Gosh, this guy has a lot. Yeah, he's actually potentially got more than I do. Not by much, but a bit. Uh-oh. I don't know what this Devastator is exactly and why it matters so much. I just feel like taking it down has to be critical. It's down to crippled hull points. It has a second whole health bar like all capital ships, but we're taking this sucker down. I'm taking big losses in the meantime, though. Big losses here. Let's go ahead and start clearing out all their small ships at this point. I think we can now take the fight right back to them. Yeah, losing a few ships. So far, completely manageable, though. It's not the end. The big thing is I really don't want to lose my capital ships. That would be a problem. Tell you what, let's go ahead and send my smaller ships to run up here and try taking out some of their long-range missile boats, because those are causing problems. I don't have enough flat guns to go around. At the end of the day, I think we're still taking a few too many losses here for this to be really worth it. It's kind of turning into a Pyrrhic victory. If we can just clear out a little bit more. Hit those capital ships, come on. Oh, there goes one of them. Hey! Right now, I actually think it's the carriers that are doing this for me. They have nothing left to take down my strike craft and my bombers, so we're punching through their shields. Not that I have a lot of shields to work with myself, by the way. This is really painful. Capital ship heavily damaged. We're down to crippled hull points. That doesn't mean the ship is dead, though. Not by a long shot. Honestly, I'd say we've done good enough at this point. Let's just go ahead and retreat. Yeah, that sounds cowardly, but as long as we don't lose the capital ships, I think we came out of that fight severely ahead of them. They still have enough supply to be a major threat, and I have to rebuild and regroup, but big win for me. Big win. We should be able to rebuild ourselves pretty quickly, too. I feel like overall that was a good exchange. Oh gosh, notice by the way how the map has changed a bit over here, though. Now this asteroid's very much in harm's way. Ugh. Well, I can build a gigantic Ultimus starbase in the area. That should dissuade anyone. Now we just repair the fleet. I do have a retrofit bay capable of doing that. So we should be able to get ourselves back up to full strength quickly. Hostile forces just arrived somewhere where... Ah, right, the asteroid. All right, I wasn't able to build a base out in time. Or did I, and I just never upgraded it with defensive slots? Is that how that works? Oh, whoops. Okay. How much strength did you send my way? You sent a fair bit. 142 supply worth. Got it. Now they're bombing the planet. All right, we're going to lose the asteroid base. Not a big deal. Well, let's go ahead and take the fight once again to these guys. The routes have changed, which means now we have to go to this asteroid over here, but that's fine. Here we come in for round 2. Lots of defensive platforms. That's fine. Good lord, though. Some of these platforms have a lot of health on them. Takes forever, even with all this combined firepower, to take them down. It's fine, though. I'm working on it. We'll get this. And good timing to take that all down, because here come their defenses again. They're clearly just a bit out of position, though. Probably because of the changing orbits. So their fleet's not here to really defend. This is going to be basically free kills for me. There we go. Big capital ship down. We can get into their wreckage and steal their exotics. Now, we're very slow at bombardments. This is where researching the siege frigate would make some sense. Bring some of these to bear, and we can take these down quick. Whoa, what is happening here? Okay, they're trying to build some massive... Is this a space station? It seems that way. Huh. Okay, they're trying to do the same thing I had done before. Tell you what, that's smart because you're trying to distract me from killing the ships that are actively a problem. Deal with these first, please. There we go. All right, and for whatever reason, because they invested so much in this, they just left behind another derelict by accident. Ha! Suckers. Okay, enemy colony down. The asteroid is now available for me to take. Good. So, do we try running in here again? Sure. This will probably be the last combat that I take. We seem to be doing really well when it comes to resources all of a sudden once again, which is, you know, great. But this is a longer game than you would think. This is not just a quick little RTS skirmish. This takes some investment. This takes some time. There we go. More exotics for me, and now I think we just go ahead and take on this planet. And actually, they left this completely undefended, which means we just have to bombard it and claim it for ourselves. Easy mode. So instead, let's take the fight over here to this other asteroid. I don't even know where the rest of their planets are. They gotta be somewhere, but this is the last one that I know of. And there goes that base. Okay, check diplomacy. I don't know of any planets left for the Vanitas faction, but at this point I think I've asserted some dominance, and the other players are still a little scary. Actually, this guy's got a lot of ships, but we're doing okay for ourselves, I think. We're doing all right for our first time playing this game. Yeah, honestly, it's a really fascinating game with the same 4X elements you would expect for simply exploring and trying to exploit worlds for all they're worth as quickly as you can. And then also at the same time, you've got to worry about the fact that everything's real-time strategy. It's all going a lot faster than maybe you are used to. You can't sit back and think about it. You got to go for it, right? It changes the franticism of the game, and the fact that everything is simulated just makes this game so much more exciting. I really like the fact that all these planets are orbiting, though, in different directions. I think that's fascinating, having the methods of getting around changing literally underneath you as you play the game. Really, really cool idea for a game, and I'm looking forward to finding out how many other features are going to be added this summer. Because remember, that's when the game is going to release, and I am expecting to find at least one more faction has been properly added into the game. And then where is it really going to differentiate itself from Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion, right? Because a lot of the same features we love from that game are here too. It's definitely bigger, it's better, it's more modern, but what more are they going to do to change things up? I'm looking forward to finding out. Once again, a big thank you to Starvdock for sponsoring today's video. That has been very fun for me. If you guys enjoyed this video, I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to check that link in the description down below. And as always, we'll see you guys next time.